Hello everyone, and welcome to Baker Hughes Subsea Connect TV Fireside Chat. Over the course of the last period, we have had a number of webinars with our clients and industry peers. In this session, we would like to take the opportunity to reflect on some of the feedback we have received when we presented the revolutionary technology for P&A of subsea wells, the Terminator. And together with me today, I've got Jarle Hvidsten. Jarle is our technical advisor for Subsea, and he has been a key part of developing this tool together with our partners within the company. And Jarle, it's great to have you with me today. Thank you for joining.
Thank you, Eivind.
So you worked on developing this tool, which we call Terminator. And how did you guys come up with this idea of bringing something new into the P&A world?
Yeah, it came up over a cup of coffee, as most other ideas come up. Colleagues that do the drill pipe-based wellhead cutting from the drilling rig lost the opportunity to abrasive water jet cutting performed by a vessel, and Baker Hughes weren't in that space 2 years ago. So then we tried to find out how to do the same thing as we've done from decades from the drilling rigs from a vessel to enable doing wellhead cutting from both the rigs and the vessels.
So your effort, I guess, was around bringing proven technology in by use of a vessel instead of a rig, obviously. But which kind of proven technology are we bringing to the market with the Terminator solution?
Yeah, so what we started with was an access connector from an old Christmas tree, an hydraulic motor, joining this together and attaching the Hercules multi-stem cutter from our Baker Hughes business, making this new vessel-based wellhead cutting device out of equipment we basically had available. Just to do this very quickly in a short time frame, going from the cup of coffee on drawing board to workshop testing, qualification, and first field trial.
So how long did you actually spend from the first rough drawings into the first field action?
Started with the first drawing to the first testing was about 8 weeks, and we designed in parallel with testing all from day one and basically still do improvements. And then the first testing and the first field trial was also very quickly, within just months.
That's great. So obviously the effort here was, first of all, it's a competitive market out there, and we understand the appetite for operators to move activities off a rig and onto a vessel. So this basically reduces the scope in phase 2 of a P&A campaign and moving it into a phase 3 vessel campaign instead. So maybe explain to us a little bit more about which savings does the operator actually see by using this tool, moving the activity off the rig, and also maybe what are the competitive advantages using this tool over the abrasive cutting that was historically used from a vessel?
Yes, first of all, we don't have to do the operations from a vessel. We can still use the Terminator on a rig, and if you have the ability to run the Terminator down while recover the BOP, then you work on outside the critical path of the drilling rig, and you basically get the operation time for free. Doing it on a vessel, you can dismiss the drilling rig earlier, and that gives you saving in the amount of rig days that you can use for other drilling activities or P&A activities. Obviously, the cost of a vessel is about 1/10 of the cost of a rig. So then doing it in about the same time frame, but on a much cheaper vessel, then there's obviously a lot of saving. Also, we have the ability, because of the extremely small footprint, to work off an anchor handler that also is needed on site to remove the anchors and move the rig after the drilling activity. Then you can join the mobilization with the anchor handling mobilization, for instance. The only online time, or the time you actually have to pay for on a vessel, is the few hours you use to perform the cut itself.
And I also understand by bringing this to on the vessel, there's a need for much smaller crews and less people in the red zone, and so out of harm's way, you can say. Obviously, the vessel needs to have some capabilities to actually run the Terminator, and which are those, and maybe also what's not needed, which is typically needed, even in a vessel campaign.
Yeah, so far, the operations of subsea construction vessels, anchor handlers with a crane. In the future, we are planning to do it from anchor handlers without a crane. That even gives more savage because those class vessels is even lower cost than the anchor handlers with a crane. Regards to complexity, to give you an example, one of the jobs we did was on an anchor handler with a total POV or personnel on board the vessel of 23 persons. So that's it's not a huge crew needed to run an operation. And the 23, that's the total amount of people on the vessel. 2 of these people, Baker Hughes crew. The rest is marine crew and ROV.
Yeah, because you're able then to conduct simultaneous operation on the same trip and didn't have to move people on and off the vessel between those operations.
Yes.
Right. So let's go into the operation mode, off the vessel, and the Terminator is lifted, or as you say, more or less sledged overboard from an anchor handler. You're using this H4 profile, which is maybe not industry standard, but very close to it. How long does it take for the Terminator to actually cut through the wellhead casing conductor sections? Very important for the team on the vessel is to understand when to receive an indication of when they have a positive cut.
Yeah, so starting with deployment, picking up on deck, and as you say, throwing it overboard into the sea, down to, as an example, 350 meters water depth, takes about half an hour to 1 hour to be in position to start the cut. Regarding the cut itself, depends what casings and combinations you want to cut. So that can take everything from 5 minutes to a day, depending on the complexity of what to cut. And then the recovery is pretty much the same as the deployment, half an hour to an hour before it's back on deck and you start sea fasting.
And you receive a positive indication when you're cut through. How is that message sent back to the vessel?
Yeah, the positive indication is when we cut, we pressurize a piston inside the mechanical cutter that forces the knife outwards, creating a sweep when you're cutting. The further down you push this hydraulic piston, the more out and the more sweep the knife would get. When the position has reached a predefined spot, we get like a telltale indication, simply a pressure drop. So we lose all the pressure inside the hydraulic chamber that forces down this piston. So that is an indication that the knives have reached the certain predefined sweep and the casing or conductor is cut.
So I looked around on your LinkedIn profile and you have shared some of the success stories. They all seem coming from Norway, and in Norway we have used H4 profile, 8.75 systems. Is there any reason to deploy the Terminator on any other valves or constructed valves, and what's the availability for the audience to actually receive that service from us?
So the wellhead connector we have used, an H4 wellhead connector, is basically to absorb reactive torque while we machining and cutting away the wellhead. We have other options for smaller types of wellhead, other styles, and even for mudline suspension wells that doesn't have a profile, we also have a gripping device to grip onto a slick pipe. So the H4 wellhead connector is one example. We have multiple options for multiple cases. So into pile cutting and a lot of other applications where we can use the same technology.
So this tool can be deployed elsewhere in the world on any wellhead. What are we doing there to be able to offer it in, for example, Asia Pacific, Latin America, Gulf of Mexico, etc.?
Yeah, so we're expanding the fleet. Our strategy is to have equipment available in all regions where there is potential work.
That's really great to hear. Jarle, thank you very much for joining me today, and it was a pleasure to speak with you again. We'll certainly stay in touch. To the audience, thank you very much for joining us and taking the time to listen in. If you would like to see this in replay, you can go to bakerhughes.com/connect, and there you can also find other similar webinars or fireside chat where you can learn more about our products. Thank you and stay safe.